what's going on? It's Jena Irene Asciutto, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
Let's talk about being able to release your own music the way that you want to release it and, being so open about it.
It just feels really good. I mean, a lot of the contestants from American Idol don't really get to write their own records after their experience on the show, so I feel very grateful that I got to go and really kind of figure out the kind of artist that I wanted to be and what kind of message I wanted to put out in my songs. So I'm glad that I got to, kind of all think about it, and I'm really confident with everything now. So
Right. Now, with the show going on, I mean, you're performing, you're recording, or you're learning new material, you're working with, these big names. How did that really help you as far as learning how to hit the studio and record properly, or even learning how to write?
I think it just taught me. I didn't really think it taught me about how to write songs or any of that, but my work ethic definitely. This business is so not cut. I mean, it is cutthroat, but you have to want it.
Right.
You have to be motivated all the time, and I think that's what it taught me, was just to always work hard and never to give up, even if it's like a shit day. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Tomorrow will be better. So.
Right. So transitioning from being on national TV to, being to yourself to write on this record, what was that like for you?
I think it was challenging at first because I had to make this transition where I was always in the spotlight and working, 7 days a week in the public eye, and then I kind of went back to Detroit, and I still live at home. But it was hard at first, but now I just feel like I am the person I was meant to be all along. So
now before off camera, we were actually talking about Newfound Glory started everything for me, and Paramore started everything for you. What is it about that genre of music that really caught your eye in wanting to, be a musician? Because you were in a band before.
I was. I grew up on punk rock and just rock and roll in general, so I think that's what inspired me to want to perform a lot, just because Haley was such a big inspiration for me. She's like a firecracker on stage. But, that's who I always wanted to, not replicate, but, wanted to pretty much be. And then I figured that's not my thing. I have to kind of look for my own thing and my own stigma. So, and that's just me being myself. So it was a long process of, like, figuring out who I am, but I think Haley definitely helped me out along the way.
Now, how do you really figure out who you are as an artist, what kind of music you really want to write, and, how you're even going to execute it?
Well, it all starts from songwriting with me and my piano. So I'll write something on the piano that catches my ear, that I can't get out of my head, and then I'll write a melody to it, and it kind of just evolves from there. But the topics that I've been inspired by are just things that I've experienced myself, because it's hard to sing a lyric when I don't exactly know what the person is feeling. So to be able to sing my own lyrics, it's so much easier to perform and execute live.
Right.
So
now, going into the studio to record your debut EP, which is Innocence, who did you end up working with as far as a producer, and what is it about this producer that you wanted to work with him?
Well, my producer is also my manager, one of my managers. So Kevin Nixon produced the record and the EP. And when I met my managers, Kevin and Sarah Klayman, there was just something different about them. They weren't intimidating like a lot of the major label people can be, which is fine, but it wasn't the element that I was trying to go for, and that's not the element that I can really be myself in. So they just made me feel really comfortable, and then starting to write with Kevin, I found that we had a really good gel. So the studio, like, we knew exactly what we wanted to do when we got in the studio, because there was so much preparation. So I think that's why I was so confident and comfortable. Now,
usually producers tend to break the artist down, put them in a very uncomfortable situation to create the art that they do. Is there anything that your producer actually did that made you really uncomfortable, but you ended up executing it? And if so, what was it?
That's That's a good question. I think when we were generally writing the record, and he was helping me revise all my lyrics because I kind of have organizational issues with how I tell stories. So when he was trying to revise everything, there were blunt lyrics that he was kind of pushing for, and because I have so many different blunt topics on the record, you kind of have to match the vocal content as well, and it was hard at first because I was on American Idol, and that stuff is not necessarily I guess viewed as role model material, but I'm not trying to be a role model. I'm just trying to be myself and trying to connect with other people. So
And did you release everything that you wanted to release on that EP?
yes, I'm really excited about the EP, but everything else is coming on the record, which is being released later this year. It's called Cold Fame.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the record. How different is the record now that you've kind of expressed who you really are on Innocence?
How different is the record
From the EP?
from the EP? Well, I think the EP, we made the record first, and I actually didn't know that there was going to be an EP before the record. So we picked the songs on the EP that kind of represented the record to the best of its ability. So, and the record is actually a concept album, so Innocence was kind of the start of the story of the whole record. So that's what I wanted to, start off with.
Interesting. And I saw that today you were actually at Capitol Studios. Are you still working on the record? Or are you working on your second album now?
I actually have started.
You're nonstop with music.
I know. Well, I have a lot of ideas, and they're always on the go, and I'm always experiencing new things, especially traveling back to LA and all this stuff. So ideas are always flowing, and I do have some songs ready or written for the next record, but this record is probably gonna take up a few years. So
you were also posting a couple days ago that you worked on a new music video. Can you talk a little bit about the music video, what song it might be for?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say the song that it's for, but we did record in the desert in LA on this abandoned highway, and we used a drone to shoot some of the footage, so all I can say is it's going to look pretty fucking badass. So.
Now, how different is it being in a music video or shooting for a music video as it was shooting for TV?
TV is very stressful, to be honest, just because you have to be somewhere every second, everything's timed. And with music videos, you can kind of just shoot over and over again and kind of experiment with what moves look better than others, or what expression kind of conveys the lyric a little bit better. So it's a little bit more of an experimental thing rather than you have one shot,
Now, do you feel comfortable being on TV from the experience that you had already, or is TV something that you try to kind of stay away from?
I love TV, and I love appearing on TV. It's going to be something that I'm going to be excited for the rest of my career. But I get to portray myself, I guess, instead of Jena Irene from American Idol. So.
Now, earlier we were talking about how the music scene in Detroit is pretty big. How different is it in Detroit than it is here in LA?
It's a growing scene, I think, in Detroit. There's a lot of R&B based. It's absolutely amazing. There's, I don't know if you know this, but techno originated from Detroit as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's just a different mix of all these different genres together. So it's definitely an original sound. In LA, I feel like the standard is so high. Everyone's just so amazing. But, it's very, I don't know. I actually haven't been to a lot of shows in LA, to be honest. And that's something that I really want to kind of understand a little bit better.
What about performing out in LA? Is this going to be your first actual LA show?
This is my first LA show in an actual venue other than CBS Studios. So,
so how has the traffic from your LA fans been so far since you announced that you were going to be here at the Hotel Cafe?
I've gotten some feedback. To be honest, there's a lot of fans from the show that kind of shuffle out on social media after a year or so. So you kind of understand who your real fans are. But yeah, I've gotten some feedback on social media, on Twitter and on Instagram, that some people are going to come tonight. So I can't wait to see some familiar faces.
Right. Now, today you're doing a one-off show. Do you have any plans for a tour anytime soon, either for the EP or for the album?
We're trying for a couple different tours, but there's nothing set in stone yet, so I can't really say too much about that.
As far as going on tour with someone, who would you really want to go on tour with, except for Paramore? You can't say Paramore.
Oh, no, I can't. I feel like it would just be
I think that would be a dream you might not want to live.
No. No, we might get too close and then like fight or something. No, I'm kidding. But no, I think I would love to go on tour with Lana Del Rey. She'd be amazing. I love John Mayer. I don't know. There's just so many kind of different kinds of artists that I think my music could not go with, but complement. I guess I'm trying to find the right word. Sorry. But there's a whole list of people. I would love to go on tour with Coldplay. Holy shit.
Oh my God, that would be sick.
Coldplay would probably be my number one.
That would be sick.
Adele, shout out to Adele, girl.
There you go.
I love you.
The debut album, how soon can we maybe expect that? Is that something for this year, summertime, next year?
I think early next year is what is going to happen. I think there's going to be another EP that comes out, and then we're going to release the record early next year.
Okay.
So.
And then for those that don't know who you are and what your music is all about, why should they go ahead and listen to you?
I think people should listen to my music just because I'm an honest person that just wants to connect with other people that like the same things as me. And if you like my sound, you like my sound. So. And I'm Jena Irene Asciutto.
There you go. That's exactly what I was just going to say, so I don't need to say it anymore. Don't forget to subscribe here on Front Row Live ENT and check her out. Thanks for watching.